Hey everybody, welcome back to Student Connection, and this is our first one of the summer. Summer's really here, all right. And for our church, this first full week we have Vacation Bible School going on. And so as I was thinking about the summer and thinking about how the Lord will use our summer plans, I was reminded of three important events that happened in my life during the summer months. When I was 9 years old, July of 1990, I came to know the Lord at Vacation Bible School. And from that point on, knew my life was changed. Was everything perfect? Absolutely not. But from that point, I knew that I had salvation in the Lord. It came from Him. I was sealed by that, and nothing could take that away. And I'm thankful for how the Lord has ordered my steps since that time. Even though I'm going to rebel at different times in my walk, the Lord has always been faithful to draw me back to Him, and I'm grateful for that. The second thing that was of great importance that I see in my life happened on June 3rd, 2002. I was serving at a Baptist camp and felt the Lord calling me to vocational ministry. And so I surrendered to ministry on July 3rd of 2002. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that camp, but also grateful for how the Lord impressed that on my life and has ever since. And just love serving in ministry. And I'm grateful for that. And I think that love comes from Him because if we're honest, it's hard to love people sometimes, and we can be people that are hard to love sometimes. But when we are striving to do it with His love in our heart, that's really the only way that we can do it. So I'm grateful for that, and grateful for just that that urging from the Lord in what I'm doing. And I'm grateful for that, and grateful to serve a great church and have served great churches in the past. I'm grateful for each and every one of them and the friendships there. And the third thing is also on June 3rd, but of 2006, I got to marry my best friend. So I'm grateful for the Lord bringing me a wife, and grateful that she is my partner in ministry. And but it caused me to think of just the greatness of the Lord and how He works all the time, but how those specific instances of summer He used and did mighty works and continues to do that. And so I wanted to try to encourage you parents and students as well today in three tips that I wrote down for the summer and how the Lord will use us in that. And so I want to share a passage, just one verse really, of how of kind of a jumping off point, a motivation for these tips I have for the summer. But it's Psalm 107, verse 43. It says, "Who is wise? He is to pay attention to these things and consider the mercy of the Lord." And we can look throughout the Old Testament, especially in the wisdom literature we have there, and all these ways that we can be wise if we do this and we do that. But for me, what drew out of that verse was right there in the middle. He's telling us he's asking, who is wise? And it says he is to pay attention to these things and consider the mercy of the Lord. So as believers, if we should consider the mercy of the Lord every day. Scripture tells us that His mercies are renewed every single morning for us. And as we consider the mercy of the Lord every day, He says He is to pay attention. And so I've heard the old adage my whole life, everybody's rich enough to pay attention. I've even used it a lot. But there's something to that. And there's three things I think this summer, parents, students, everybody that watches this, that will help us in as we are walking with the Lord, how we can pay attention to how He ultimately is guiding us. And the first one is this: we need to be engaged. We need to be engaged. There's a lot of things going on this summer. Parents, I know you're like, okay, for a little bit there's a breather because my kids aren't in school. I'm not having to worry about homework at night. But at the same time, I've got to find them something to do. And I know different family situations operate different ways. Sometimes you're filling up the calendar with different camps and vacation Bible schools to take my kids to, so they'll have something to do during the summer. And those things are great. But in being engaged, we need to know, and this is for parents and students, know the who, what, where, when, and how, or why even. You can ask all those great questions that you learned in English class. We need to know what's going on with everybody. When you sit down at the dinner table and ask, hey, how was your day? If students, if you're at home all day and just kind of hanging out, playing video games, texting back and forth with your friends, hey, let them know, hey, yeah, well, I talked to so-and-so today, or I just played Minecraft or whatever for 4 hours, or just played ball in the backyard, whatever you did. Or whether if you have a job, you're working this summer, let them know about it. Be engaged with one another. Make a effort to be engaged. Don't use the summer excuse of, well, I'm on vacation or I don't have any school. Don't use that, because the reason I say that, we do need to take a break, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but we also need to stay engaged, families with each other, but with also our friends, our church, the people that God put in our life. We are not called to, okay, we're at the summer, we get a break from everybody. I don't have to see them again until next year. If we are in the lack of better words, a business of creating relationships and striving to have those relationships for God's glory, and we are to be engaged with them. Keep up with people, so students that you may not see that much because of school. If you know how to keep up and got their number, give them a call. Hey, let's go meet at Sonic, get something to drink, or come to church with me, or use this opportunity to stay engaged. Don't use the excuse of vacation or not have school. And also under Be Engaged, see how the Lord is working around you. Like I said, this week is Vacation Bible School week. A lot of our students are serving, and I'm grateful for that. And that's one easy example, especially if you're involved in church, that we can see that, hey, this is a great way to serve. It's a great way to get online and get on board with what he's doing. And I would even go back to, if you go back a couple weeks to an interviewing some students, and got to interview Kylie McCarty. Kylie said something that it's just stuck with me ever since, that she knew how to serve the church well, but didn't know how to serve Jesus well. Well, I encourage you to learn to serve Jesus well, because serving the church, it'll fall into place. Learn to serve Jesus well now, and see how he's at work around you, and pray for how you can engage other people this summer, how you can engage people you're going to come in contact with, how you're going to engage maybe those younger kids at VBS that you're working with, how you're going to engage people if you do get to go on vacation with your family, and just the conversations you have, or if you're at the ball field. God will use that, and he's glorified when we do take those opportunities. So be engaged with your family, your friends, especially your church, and then those people that God brings in your path to you. The second thing to look at, so we're being engaged. The second thing is this: rest and play well. The last Wednesday night of our semester that we met on Wednesday night regularly, this is one thing I asked our students to pray for. Pray that this summer that they would rest and play well. Because what happens is, rest is not just, I've got to get 8 hours of sleep a night. Because let's be honest, very few parents and students get the required hours of sleep that is recommended. Okay? Get rest, not just sleep. Okay? Don't stay up till midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then sleep till lunch or 1 or 2 in the afternoon the next day. Learn how to rest well. Don't get too much and don't get too little. Establish the balance. Okay? And I say establish it, meaning you have to take the initiative to do it. Parents, this is us too, okay? So establish the balance, and not just for the summer, but that will work all year. It's going to help us to rest and play well this summer. On the play side of it, do something once a week for fun. All right? I know parents, if you work 40, 50 hours a week, it's hard to do. And a lot of times Sunday may be the only day we're not doing something. Now, it's, I'm taking myself into this as well, because, I work at the church. So I'm here on Sunday. I'm grateful. I love it. But there was a season of my life that I wasn't. I didn't serve a church vocationally, but I saw the importance of being there and serving the church. So I had to rest well on another day as well. I mean, I rested well on Sunday because I wasn't out to prepare a lesson or teach or supervise anybody, and that was fine. But at the same time, I wanted to take advantage of that resting. And so we rest well, but also play well. Do something fun once a week. Find that time, whether you play golf or you go fishing or you've got a pool and you hang out at the pool, whatever it is, even if it's something new, establish a balance with it that will continue not just in the summer but throughout your lifetime, really. Side note, I was a recreation major in college, and so we learned a lot about not only games and stuff like that, but about leisure and about rest and the importance that it's a balance for us, and we need to strive to have that balance. So let me encourage you, find something that you can find enjoyment in and it's not stressful, whether it's playing golf or fishing or taking up photography or striving to read more books, whatever it might be that you find leisure in, find it there so you can play and you can rest well starting this summer. I'm not saying just leave it to the summer, but starting. And then the third thing is this: don't fall into neglect. All right. This is the one aspect that I look at it negatively. We don't need to do this. We don't need to neglect God. We need to strive to, we're paying attention. Remember Psalm 107, paying attention to how God is at work around us. And so if your schedule is lighter right now, use that opportunity to dive into the Word more, to spend more time in prayer, and specifically pray for people and things. Write down their prayer requests so you can go back and you can be praying for them and check in with them. Especially, this is an area you struggle with being in the Word. Learn Scripture. I don't use the term memorize. Learn it. Let's hide it in our heart. Use this time to do this. Don't neglect God. Don't neglect your family either. That's the kind of the second one under this. Don't neglect your family. Spend time around the dinner table this summer. Let it jumpstart throughout. So when school year gets back here, you're so used to being around the dinner table every night, like you look forward to it. But at the same time, use those opportunities to say, hey, jump in the car. Hey, we're going to Sonic during happy hour. We're getting something to drink. We're just hanging out and having those conversations in the car. Don't neglect your family. If they've got ball games, be there to support. If they've got nothing to do, then you might can bring them on board on that new leisure thing that you've learn to play well with and incorporate them in that. Don't fall into neglect of God, your family, and thirdly, yourself. And it feeds back into everything that I've talked about today in being engaged in learning to rest and play well, but also not neglecting yourself. You don't want to be a glutton of things, and we can be a glutton of just of self-care, of self-absorbency, and we don't want that. You don't want that. It's not God honoring ultimately. But don't neglect yourself. Rest well, play well, find things that are enjoyable, and overall you honor the Lord when we're paying attention under His mercy, and that's where we find wisdom. And so let's take from his word, Psalm 107:43, and those are my 3 tips, kind of getting the summer kicked off. And so we'll be back next week. We'll see you then.